welcome to the concertverhalen. Please set your cell phone to silent mode and do not use its screen during the concert, as this can disturb others. For safety reasons, we ask you to remain seated during the applause. When the concert has finished, it's important that you remain seated and await further instructions from our staff on how and when to exit the hall. We appreciate your cooperation. Enjoy the concert.
Dank je wel. Dank je wel, dames en heren. Goedenavond. Superleuk om jullie te zien. Bedankt voor het komen. Ik ben heel dankbaar. En eerst jullie mogen kiezen, graag. Engels of Nederlands? English. Brilliant, thank you. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Absolutely wonderful to see you all here. Music is my life, and it has given me many extraordinary moments, this being one of them. And we'd like to share some of those moments with you this evening. So where did it all begin? Well, I'm fortunate to say that it began with my parents, who were both non-musicians, but they loved music. And they took us to concerts when we were children, me and my two brothers. And that's what we did as a family. And it wasn't just classical concerts, it was pop concerts, it was jazz concerts, anything that was in London or in and around London, we would be there. And for us, it was just whether it was good or not. It didn't really matter what genre it was. And so I'm extremely grateful to my parents for allowing me to just love all things musical. And I remember also when we were at home, that I would listen, we would sit in the living room of our house in Bury St Edmunds. Bury St Edmunds is the town that I was born in. Bury St Edmunds is also the town where St Edmund is buried. It's about an hour and a half north of London, near the university town of Cambridge. And I say that because it makes me sound more intelligent. And so I can remember sitting in the living room listening to these records. These are actually records from my parents' collection. Now, if you're under the age of 40, what these are records. And you put them on a record player and it turns. It's quite nice to watch, actually. A little arm comes down and music comes out of these big boxes. You don't have to touch your phone at all for it to happen. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to play a couple of pieces of music to celebrate my heritage, if you like. My mother, who is watching at home in Bury St Edmunds as we speak, and this is terribly cheesy because this is going out live across the world. Well, it's going out live to Bury St Edmunds. And so I must say, hi, Mum. You did this. And you could all wave. Should we all wave at my mum? Hi, Mum. Look, everyone's waving. And there we are. She's going to love that. And she thinks she's the queen. Anyway, and so she does that all the time. And so my mother is very English, extremely English. Her parents were English, their parents were English. And whilst during lockdown, my mother started sorting out some stuff in the house. And she came across this box, which was full of postcards from her father. Ernie was his name. And in the postcards were some postcards which had pictures of old Amsterdam on them. And so she Zoomed me and showed me over Zoom these pictures of old Amsterdam. And then she turned them around and said, look, this is postcards that Ernie, my dad, sent to my mum, Elsie, her name was. And then we discovered the date on these postcards, and it was July 1945. Which meant that unbeknownst to us, we didn't realize this, but my grandfather was actually part of the liberation and came through Amsterdam. We're not quite sure where he went to, but he definitely was here because he bought the postcards. And I can only begin to imagine post-war how much fun my grandfather would have had knowing that his wife was at home. And so that's extraordinary. And so to celebrate this, we're going to play a piece by Edward Elgar, the most celebrated English composer, and a piece that he wrote for his soon-to-be wife, and it's called Salut d'amour, the Song of Love. And on my father's side of the family, it's a slightly different story in that my grandparents on my father's side were German Jews. They lived in Berlin, had a wonderful life in Berlin, until 1939, when they escaped just in time and came to London. And that's where my father was born. And they actually ended up living just sort of basically down the road from Elsie and Ernie, which is extraordinary. But to pick a piece of music that sort of celebrates my sort of Germanness, I decided to go back and go to Berlin. In Berlin lived another German Jew at that time. In fact, just down the road from where my grandparents lived Kurt Weill. And Kurt Weill wrote a piece that you will probably know, and it's called Mac the Knife. Now, you'll probably know it from like there's a sort of a big band version by Bobby Darin. But first, we would like to play Salut d'amour, and then we want to take you to a smoky Berlin 1930s nightclub with Mac the Knife. Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to talk for a moment or two about a subject that I consider myself to be quite an expert. And that subject is myself. And I'm going to tell you why I started playing the double bass. And just so you know, it's double bass, it's contrabass, it's bass, it's bull bass, it's string bass. They're all the same thing, just in case. And and the reason I'm going to tell you is because every time I go into a car or a train or a plane or even in my own house, people always say to me, "Why did you start playing the double bass?" And if it's not that, then it's hilarious comments like, "I bet you wish you played the piccolo." Or "How'd you get that under your chin then?" Brilliant. And so I'm going to tell you why I started playing the double bass. So if ever I meet any of you on a plane or on a train or in my house, then you don't have to ask me why. And if you could do me a favor and tell all of your friends, then I might never have to repeat this story ever again. Great, thank you. So I started playing the violin at the age of 4. And I must have been quite good, because at the age of 8, I entered into a music school called Cheetham School of Music, which was a sort of specialist music school, a sort of Hogwarts for musicians, if you like. And it was right in the centre of a small industrial town in the north of England called Manchester. And it was a sort of quite a spooky place, but it was amazing that it was basically just for these sort of young, gifted musicians. So in order to have got into a school like that, I guess I must have been. In order to get in, you have to. There's many auditions, and there are many people that they're in a line to get in. There's only a few spaces, so I'm guessing I must have been a Charles, help me out.
A genius.
A genius. His words, not mine. And thank you, Charles. And so being a genius, I didn't feel that it was entirely necessary for me to study. So I didn't. And at the age of 14, I can remember sitting in my practice room with my violin on my knee, listening to all the other guys in my year, sort of in other practice rooms, and there was a Brahms concerto over there, and Mozart and Beethoven, and I still had the same music on my lessonar as I did when I was 8. So progress can only be described as slow. So I thought, well, I've got to do something about this. I'll go and see the director of music, and well, okay, he asked to see me, and I went, and he said to me, "Well, Dominic, you have a choice now. Either you play the bass, because we need bass players in the orchestra, or you leave the school." Well, I mean, that was not really an option, because leaving the school meant that I would have to mix with normal people. And I was whatever Charles said, I was a genius. And so I sort of thought, well, I'll try the bass. And this, in fact, this very instrument is the first bass that I ever laid my hands on. This is the first bass I ever played. It belonged to the school before I stole it. Bought it. And so within a couple of days of playing the bass, 2 guys in my year, a clarinetist and a pianist, came to me and said, "Hey, Dominic, you're playing bass now? That's pretty cool. How about we play some jazz?" And I thought to myself, well, there's really no better way of getting girlfriends than transforming myself from a dud violinist to a super cool jazz bass player. So, of course, I agreed, and I'm delighted to tell you that it worked. And so we went into a practice room and decided which jazz piece we were going to play. And we came up with "In the Mood" by Glenn Miller. So, you know, that's good. Anyway, I couldn't play the bass line, and here is why. If you look at my left hand, it goes here. Now I have to move up in order to catch that note, but up is actually down, of course, and this was actually the problem, and essentially still is. So we needed to find a bass line that didn't go up or down, but just went across. So we came up with a little brown jug, which was You're not a big hit here in Holland then? Okay, good. Huge in Manchester. And so, I mean, I fully mastered that bass line within a good 2 to 3 years. But after a while, I wanted to be taken seriously as a classical musician, so it made sense to learn how to use the bow. And are there any bass players here? It's just you and me then, Dave. Yeah, okay. And well, as any bass player will tell you, when you sit down with the bass, unlike any other instrument, a large amount of your body is touching the instrument when you play. So when you do this, it's extremely pleasant. And, oh, we found the level, okay, and, alrighty. But it's also, the good thing about the bass is that you can do some impressions as well, so like seagulls, you know. And a horse, a horse. And of course the mouse trap. But I did a little practice, a little studying, and then ended up entering the Royal Academy of Music in London. And in actual fact, Charles also studied in London, that's right, at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, yeah. Not quite as good as the Academy, but very, very close, very close. It was a brave attempt, and he's not done badly considering. And it was at the Academy that I sort of started playing the bass a little bit more seriously, and I realized that the bass was an extraordinary instrument, and this was going to sort of change my life somewhat. The bass not only was great in orchestra doing this, but also you could play melodies on the bass, and it sounds okay. And then secondly, I realized that all those genres of music that my parents had taken me to, they all had bass players in them. And there is no genre of music at all that exists without bass. And if I hung out with the right people, then I could get to play all those different genres of music as well. And that's what I've done ever since, is just hang out with the right people. And this orchestra is a great example of, you have no idea whether they're classical musicians or jazz musicians, they're just great musicians. And that's the kind of people that I like to hang out with. And they don't particularly like hanging out with me because I talk too much. And so they just want to play. And the third thing is that this was my ticket around the world. This got me to see the whole world. And it's on pause for a little bit at the moment. But so we'd like to play 3 pieces. The first 2 we'll put together. The first one, going back to the melody idea, is, I think, the most beautiful piece ever written for the bass by a bass composer, if you like, called Giovanni Bottesini, and that's called Elegy. And the second piece is by my favorite pianist, Oscar Peterson. And the reason why he's my favorite is because, going back to this record collection here, this record is the very record that I used to listen to endlessly when I was a child on my parents' hi-fi system. And there is Ray Brown. And I wanted to be Ray Brown, who was Oscar Peterson's bass player. But I also think that Oscar Peterson is the most wonderful composer, and so we'd like to play a piece by him as well, called A Hymn to Freedom. But first, the Elegy by Giovanni Bottesini. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So the third piece of music that I was talking about the fact that this monster here gets me a ticket to around the world. Well, I want to take you back to my very first tour that I did when I was a teenager, my first tour abroad, and that was to Spain. And the music of Spain is so incredible, isn't it? And we'd like to play a piece that reminds us of Spain, mainly because it's called Spain. And it's written by an amazing guy called Chick Corea, who I actually met here, just below the stage here. He was playing on this very platform, and we met him down there. Very, very nice guy, very nice guy. If you're watching Chick, you're a very, very nice guy. And a vegan, but don't let that put you off. He's a very nice guy. And so the thing is with this piece that we need a little assistance from you, just to start us going. Now, the music of Spain, especially this piece, is syncopated. So this is the word of the day, and I'll be testing you next week. It's syncopated. And what that basically means is that it's off the beat. But you're going to be on the beat, and the band are going to be off the beat. And so the idea is that you come with me, I'll show you where to clap, and you just stick with me. Don't go with the band, it's syncopated. Got it? Okay. So, and don't try and follow what you hear, follow what you see. Welcome to my world. Okay, here we go. All right, follow me exactly. And. Yeah. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's been a long belief of mine that music is like a superpower. It has this amazing ability to be able to change the way that we think, to change our mood, to change our character. And we turn to music in times of joy and in times of trouble. It's no surprise at all to me that classical music at this time has been listened to more than any time before in recent history. And so what I'd like to do is play you a piece of music which I think is simply the most beautiful piece of music written for just strings. You're in a safe place here in the concert hall with us. And it's a very strange world at the moment. And I hope that this piece will give you a moment of pause, of reflection, and of beauty. This is the Adagio for Strings by Samuel Barber. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the next piece of music we'd like to play requires some assistance. And some assistance from you. And you were so good at the clapping, but we don't need all of you, we only need 3 of you. And so who would like to volunteer to come up on stage? And basically, if you don't volunteer, then I'm going to come down and get you. Okay, then, so, all right, who would like to volunteer? Young lady there at the end. Now, the thing is that because you're stuck in the middle there, it's all very well for you to wave your hands, but the idea is that nobody volunteers, otherwise you ruin the joke, you see. And we can't get you out, because it breaks every possible rule happening. So we have to go for this nice lady here, but next time, I promise, in the blue, yes. Would you mind coming up? Great, on stage, thank you very much. And if you could just come up here and go to stage left here, and you'll see a white triangle. It's the Bermuda Triangle, and this is the trick. And so if you go there, very, very good. And then we need somebody to stand this side as well. And madam, would you? You don't have a choice. Come on now. That's it. Up you come. Don't look at me like that. I haven't done anything wrong. And if you could just gently go past Rembrandt there, and then stand on the that's it, the other triangle, and then with somebody down the middle. Oh, for sure. Yeah, is this your friend? Is this your friend that you pointed at? Your sister, fine. Perfect. Lovely lady. Now, come on now. Yes, please. Thank you very much. Please, come on up. That's it. Thank you. Round of applause for them all. And that's your... No, I do. I know you hate her. It's fine. I know. Apparently, you're not related. There you are. There. Okay. That's it. That's your spot there. Now, what's going to happen is that have any of you? What's your name, madam? Leonie. Leonie. Have you been on the Contrabass stage before? No. No, never. Well, you look completely natural. And what's your name, madam? Honey. Leonie and Honey. And you get the T-shirt of the day award. That's a beautiful T-shirt. Thank you very much. Thank you. Honey, and have you been on the stage before? No. Do you play in an orchestra at all? No. Would you like to? Yes, good. And what's your name?
Valance.
What was that?
Valance.
Farance?
Valance.
Valance. I'm never going to get there. I'm going to... Oh, Florence. Why didn't you just say Florence? I'm English. Come on now. And, okay, Florence. So now what's going to happen is that you're going to get some instruments given to you. And we've got some lovely assistants here. And the idea is that you play these instruments. I'm talking to you. Nobody's concentrating. I'll just talk to you, Florence. You play these instruments when I cue you. And that's what conductors do. What are you doing? Oh, cleaning. Okay, good. There you are. Excellent. That's good. Now, this one, I'll teach you. Very good. This one, what you have to do, in order to make a noise, you have to step on it. Okay? And, all right, good. Get it in position. You look like you've handled something like that before. Okay.
I don't tell you.
No, you don't tell me. Not here. And so, okay. And what you can do is you can take that out of the little box there. That's it. It's all been cleaned perfectly. That's it. And what I want you to do is point that towards the. There we go. And then you push the red thing. When I tell you, you push the red thing in very hard. Okay, good. Sounds like you've done that before. Have you got an instrument? No. Jannike's cleaning. Jannike, you are gifted. There we go. I think that's probably done it. There we are. Excellent. And that one, Florence, you just have to take it out, put the thing on the floor. That's it. And give the ball a good squeeze. When I tell you. Very good. Excellent. So, now, you have the most difficult. Yes, I know. You know what? I'd love to have a conversation with you.
You probably hate me.
No, I don't hate you. Why would I hate you? I'm loving. It's just that I'm in the middle of a concert, so we can't really have a conversation.
No.
Yeah, no. So that's. But yeah, we're doing it. I know. I'll tell the jokes. And okay, so what's going to happen when I cue you like that? You're going to make the noise. Okay, got it? And the cue looks only when I cue you. Are you ready? Squeeze your ball. Okay, good. All right, here we go then. Yeah. couldn't do it better myself. Excellent. Are you ready? Now with feeling. I'll come back. And do you dance? Do you dance? Dance to the music. Dance. Dance and dance. You dance. Yes, Florence. Yeah, that's why you're my favourite. Excellent. It's perfect. It's perfect. Get ready. Get ready. Just a little bit less. A little bit less. Oh, bravo. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you. Take a bow, everybody. Take a bow. Take a bow. Very good. Put the instruments down. Off you go. My darling, if you can go first, that would be great. And then if you can follow her there we go. Perfect. And you just go like that, all safe and clean. Oh, my goodness. Thank goodness. Ah. Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the last piece of the program. But it's quite a special day today. And that is, it's my mother-in-law's birthday. And if I didn't mention that, that would be trouble, you understand. Gentlemen, you understand, right? Happy birthday. Felicitated. I don't even know where she is. Happy birthday, Ellen. Anyway, moving on. Behind me are simply the most extraordinary bunch of musicians who I'd like to introduce you now. We've got Rembrandt on the piano, Vincent on the drums, Myrthe on the violin, Yannicka on the flute, Chris on the violin, Marcel on the clarinet, Judith on viola, Charles on cello, and the man who did all the arrangements, Dave Murray. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, and we appreciate so much that you came out this evening, and we hope that the last piece, at least, will make you smile. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Have a safe trip home. God bless you all. Thank you.